Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for tuning in. It's good to see everyone. Feel like a long time no see because I was supposed to see you on Sunday, and then Michael's mother ended up in the ICU. So you may notice there's somebody new here. And Adam from my psychic development class, you got it right. I got a black kitten. Did not plan on it. Michael surprised me, and she is a love. So her name is Lyra, and she is so snuggly. Of course, right now we just want to make mischief. You just want to make some mischief right now. So welcome. Let me say hello, Nancy, Carol, Mariel, KP, Lightworker. So yes, she is just a doll. And I swear, like Annie had a paw in this because she's been snuggling on my left shoulder like her. She's just like bonded. She's so cuddly. Right now, though, we just got done eating, so I think you're going to see a different side of her. Huh. Okay, you go do you. So her name is Lyra, like the Lyrans, right? The cat people. And she is a Libra. And here's the interesting thing. Michael's mother is a Libra. And I thought that was interesting, that synchronicity. Seska, yes, I know, kitten. And she has like the little kitten belly, and she's so fluffy and soft, and life is just good. Um, so yeah, I wasn't even quite sure if I was ready for a new kitty, but Michael saw her, and as it's important to adopt black cats because they are like the last ones to get adopted from the shelters, and they're oftentimes abused. And so I didn't set out to get a black cat, but here we are. So if you see me looking down, looking at my iPad, it's just a little bit easier than looking at the screen up there. So yeah, she is a doll, and she's already talking to me. So I just love it, just love it. And Michael's mother is not doing well, so she is in the ICU, and she is in multiple organ failure at this point. He's actually with her right now, but I need to keep working, keep doing my thing too. And I am bundled up. It is a very cold December for Massachusetts. So let's get into it. We have a lot to talk about. And I want to do this angle so you could see the cards. And Sarah, in my psychic development class, you saw me getting a Christmas tree. And I was like, no, I'm not going to put up a tree this year. I'm missing my cats. And Michael's mother was so sick. And then Michael gets me this tree. It's made out of roses and whatnot. So it's interesting. So we will be doing the psychic development class. If you can't make it, that's fine. It'll be in the playlist. And we'll also be doing some awesome channelings tonight, members. Rahasha, talking about Three Eye Atlas. And then after that, for my angel members, we're going to be channeling Archangel Uriel, because he is the angel of enlightenment. So all good stuff in membership. If you want to check that out, all the good stuff starts at Awaken Your Mind and above. If you want the live classes and all that sort of thing. So, all right. I haven't read on Cash Patel, but here is what I am getting psychically about him, is that around March, could be a little, a week before, a week after or something, but around March, he's gone. We are no longer talking about him. I really feel like by April, his ship has sailed. And I think for him, over these next few months, this is going to be the most difficult period of his life where he gets held accountable. And so let's pull some cards for Cash. So what do we need to know about Cash? Okay, very first card, Three of Wands. His back's turned, he's going, right? And it can also be a bit of he's waiting for his ship to come in. He's waiting for things to improve. He's waiting for things to get better. I don't see them getting better. I really don't. I think he's on this downward trajectory. Okay. For those of you not familiar with how I do it, my first card is the significator. The second card is the obstacle, the challenge. The subsequent cards are the outcome cards. So his challenge, I'm sorry. And for those of you that don't know, he is the FBI director. So here's the sword of truth, Ace of Swords. That's his challenge. So truth coming out, truth coming to light. Everybody finding out the things that he has done. So I think the facts are going to hurt him. Plus, I also think 45, as I call him, because I do not believe he's 47, sees him as a weakness, right? And he doesn't like people that are weak. So I think, he's just going to go. He's going to look for stability wherever he can. Knight of Pentacles. Let's keep going. To me, this would be the Democrats, really kind of like pushing things, hammering things home. Queen of Cups. In a more traditional sense, this would be him feeling extremely emotional. And it has to do with the partnerings and the dealings, the wheelings and dealings, that kind of thing. The people that he's aligned himself with, Two of Cups, that is a problem. Now, with somebody like him, what I will say is, it's not like, say, like the end for him. It's the end for him in this role. And so I do think he'll be held accountable, not in a way that he's going to jail. I mean, there's nothing to suggest that. There's nothing that I'm feeling in that way. But yeah, I think he's going, he'll ride out the holidays, and come spring, he's gone. Welcome to everyone that has come in. If you haven't and you like this content and you want to see more, but make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Only 10% of you do, which unfortunately hurts my channel. And like I said, too, only 6% of you actually have the bell turned on. YouTube has been turning the bell off so you don't get notified. So keep that in mind. And if you have the ability, if you're on a mobile device, hype the video, because that makes a huge difference. That means other people can see it and my channel can grow. If not, it's time for me to move on, right? Which is fine too. I like change. Okay, so looking at Venezuela, I wanted to do a full reading, and I will do a full Celtic cross on this. Let's see where that is all going. Now, I told you guys a long time ago, it has to do with oil. It has nothing to do with this war on drugs and whatnot. But I don't know if you have to be psychic to, come up with that. But I also said, too, I didn't see in December that we were going to put boots on the ground. And they're like, yeah, but don't we already have people there? I don't know. As an American, I just assume we have people in every country. Like we put our military kind of everywhere. But when I say boots on the ground, I mean like we're rolling in with the tanks. We're getting ready for war. I'm not seeing that in December. But let's go further out to see how far we're going to take this. And I do think a lot of it is going to have to do with boats and ships and things like that. Hello, everyone that's coming in. Welcome, welcome. Yes, this little tree is perfect, right? I didn't want to do a big tree this year. I think this one's perfect. And you can see her cat, well, one of her cat beds. She has a million cat beds. One of her cat beds behind. Okay, so what do we need to know about the US involvement with Venezuela? Okay. First card, why am I not surprised? So Ace of Pentacles, it has to do with money. We want money. We want the oil. We want the resources, right? Literally, Ace of Pentacles is about resources, things that you can touch, things from the land. Makes sense. Obstacle. Okay, so Three of Cups, when it's not your obstacle, it's great. It's the card of celebration, joy, happiness. But now people are not celebrating. This is not something that the Venezuelan people want. And I don't even think most Americans want this. I mean, 45 campaigned on ending these never-ending wars. And what is he doing? It's time. It is time to end these never-ending wars, and we shouldn't be starting new ones. Okay, so at the top of this, conscious thoughts and so the Empress, that is one of my cards for the US, but she is the one that actually really does have to do with land, right? She is about fertility, the earth. Um, and that is, I think, what, the US is looking at, what can they get from the ground, the earth itself. Subconscious thoughts. Yeah, this is that overseas thing, right? He's juggling his money overseas, and you can literally see the boats going over the waves. So I'm taking that in a very, very literal sense. Okay, so in the past, we do get this card for 45 quite a bit. The smug merchant, Nine of Pentacles. And so this is him wheeling and dealing, trying to, exploit a country for its money. That's what's at the root of all of this. And I'm going to do some clarifiers for the short term. It's the sun, and I'm going to leave that there for one moment. Finish putting out the cards. I will read them to you. But I do like to use a clarifying deck, which is a cat tarot deck, actually. Yes, I know he thought he stopped 8 wars, well, here's the thing, because I know most of you don't follow the, like Cambodia and whatnot, because it's so hard to follow their news. But I lived there. And when he was saying that he stopped all that, no, he didn't. He didn't. They're actually in the middle of like a skirmish right now, or a skirmish, I should say, a skirmish right now. That didn't end. He's not ending anything. Nothing in the Middle East is coming to an end. Nothing with Ukraine and Russia is coming to an end. It's not ending. Okay, so let's look at the short term over the next 3 months. So this would be from now into January, into February, going into March. We get the sun with the Empress again. Interesting. So, if you are using 2 decks and you're getting the same card again and again, the universe is saying, hey, pay attention. 10 of Pentacles. Okay, so the US is really going to try to go after this. So you get the sun, the Empress, and 10 of Pentacles. 10 of Pentacles is one of the cards that I use for the Republican Party. It's also a card of like extreme wealth, legacy wealth, right? And that's what this is really about. And the Empress being the US. Are you being good behind me? I don't know if you could see her. She's she's like upside down with a toy. So I do think, yeah, we're going to continue this because we want the money. And it just kind of keeps going because it's financially driven. And then you have to ask yourself, who are the people that's getting paid from this? Because it's not you and I, right? We waged this war in Venezuela, and you and I are not going to get any money from it. So, you have to look at the 1% that is getting the money. Okay, so how others are seeing it, the judgment card, they're passing judgment on us. This is gross. It's despicable. The rest of the world is not supporting us in this. I believe I just saw, what was it, yesterday, that China will back Venezuela, right? We don't need this in our lives. We don't need this. How we see it as, oh, maybe we can come to some kind of an agreement. Maybe we can wheel and deal. I think at the end of the day, we are going to push their leader out. That would be what I predict in this situation. We are going to do a lot of grandstanding, a lot of scare tactics, harm some people. I'm not sure still if I'm seeing the boots on the ground type thing. I do see a lot of stuff on the water, and even the tarot supported that. But I do think, if you're the leader of that country, Maduro, it's not going to be great for you. Our hopes and dreams here. So the Four of Wands, we want to celebrate an achievement, an accomplishment, a goal, right? They just accomplished something. They're in front of their house. They're celebrating. That's what 45 wants. And here's the thing. I think we're going to get it. I think we're going to get it. We're going to get what we want. 6 of Wands. A card of being victorious, triumphant. I would like to say that I think it's for Venezuela, but let's pull a few cards. I think that's more for us in this situation. Let's pull a few clarifiers. And tell me what you think in the comments. And by the way, so no one gets offended, I will be turning off the comments probably after a day or so I can just focus on my family at this moment. I know sometimes people get really offended, but no, I do it because, you know, I actually am held responsible for what you guys say. And if people become unhinged and I don't catch it, then it's a problem. Okay. So 7 of Pentacles, you know, that's us, you know, like fighting without any support. You know, I don't think we're going to get any great backing from anybody else. 2 of Pentacles again. So we get the 2 of Pentacles twice. And that's the one I told you. You know, we're juggling money going over boats over the sea. And so sometimes I think the cards can be extremely literal. But 7 of Cups, at the end of the day, do we even know what we want? Right. And when I say we, I do not mean the average American. I don't mean people like you and I. I'm not saying that. I'm not. Because I don't think we want this. I don't know about you. I am fine with Venezuela just doing their own thing, right? So um, we don't know what we want. We're not grounded in this. And when I say we, it's like our government, it's 45, it's his cronies. They don't really know what they want. You know, they're just sitting there like, oh, I could take this from Venezuela. I could take this from this place. And, you know, they're trying to pick and choose. But, you know, at the end of the day, innocent people will get harmed. And then if you saw 45 last night, and this is just my opinion for entertainment purposes only, I think it was really obvious that he was being propped up chemically. Take that however you want. And you could tell because he was oftentimes speaking way too quickly, tripping and slurring over his words, stuttering. You know, something was not quite right there, not fully making sense. And I think it just goes back to everything that we have been saying on this channel. Oh, what is it that I'm wearing? It's like a shawl. I would call it a shawl. It is not a blanket, even though it is chilly enough. It is chilly enough. This is definitely the right time to be breaking out the heated blanket. But I do want to take a look at 45's health in depth because that was not a good show, right? And the thing is, you know, if I was his dementia practitioner, I would be saying, do not have him do these things in the evening. Catch him more like, say, mid morning, late morning. Um, don't have him go on at that time, right? You want him at his best. And, you know, I don't think he's at, well, anybody in his condition is not going to be at their best at that hour. Yes, it is a very cold December, colder than usual. Like we've actually had snow and whatnot. Not really accumulate here. It did a bit further south towards the Cape. All right, so 45's health. What do we need to know? Okay, first card. Yeah, like he's being given things. Um, you know, honestly, it's a bit like my mother-in-law. It's modern medicine that is keeping her alive. And so, right. So, and you know, we know it's something, you know, like medicine wise, because it's pentacles, it's the body, and it's 6, right? You can even see he's giving. And so, yeah, he's being propped up. I'm just going to say chemically. The obstacle being the Queen of Wands, I would say he's lost that passion, that drive, that love for life, that part of him that enjoyed being a businessman, right? Because if you see his older interviews, I think we've all forgotten how he used to sound and look. If you see an interview from him 20 years ago, he was like the Queen of Wands, even though he wasn't telling the truth, but he was clearly spoken. You could understand what he was trying to say. He was very passionate. He was very driven. And that is now his obstacle. Obstacles. I mean, I'm sorry, conscious thoughts, rather. The obstacle was the Queen of Wands. Conscious thoughts. So he is feeling trapped and stuck. Eight of Swords. But some of it is self imposed because this character, her feet are free. She can literally walk away. Her binds are loose. But every sword is a new worry, it's a new stressor. And so, he is feeling just stuck with stress and worry, anxiety, and rightfully so. Subconscious thoughts, he thinks that things are going to turn around. He thinks that things are going to get better. But I can tell you, as a dementia practitioner, the fact that he's bragging that he just had and aced 3 dementia tests, right? You don't get those cognitive tests when everything is well. Like, this is literally the kind of thing that they're doing with my mother-in-law as we speak. And these are tests that I used to give as a dementia practitioner. And I will tell you, I had people that lived in these lockdown units, or secure units as they call them nowadays, like their entire life, that had never seen a news program, read a newspaper, worked at a job, had a date, never had like a normal life. And they could pass these tests because, can you remember man, woman, table? So the fact that he's thinking like, oh, I'm acing these tests. Okay. I mean, I've seen people with profound mental illness ace those tests, especially the Montreal one that he likes to brag about. He thinks like it's going to give him this new beginning. And it isn't. It isn't. So we get this a lot for him. Here's the devil card. And yeah, it's devilish, fiendish ways. And that's really what's at the root and the heart of the matter. And it's catching up with him. But this would also imply somebody who was abusing their body in some way, right? Because this is a card of addiction. And so we know what his eating habits were like and are like. We have speculations about other things. And now here he is at his age, reaping what he has sown. We will clarify the short term, which is Page of Wands. So give me 1 second. Let me lay down the rest of the cards. Okay. So over the next few months, the end of December, January, February, going into March, we get the Page of Wands. So we're going to be hearing a lot of fiery, explosive stuff about him. Things are going to be coming out. I don't think that the Jeffrey E. files that are coming out, in the next 24, 48 hours is really going to be life-shattering for anyone. I would be surprised. I do think there'll be a point when real documents do come out, but I don't know if it's going to be, today or tomorrow. But I do think that's going to catch up with him. 8 of Swords again. Okay, this is perfect. So we get the 8 of Swords twice. Him, feeling like I'm stuck, I'm trapped, having all this anxiety, all this stress, all this worry. Somebody is climbing up my leg. 4 of Pentacles, really holding on to what he's got, holding on to physical health, physical things, right? But this is a health reading. So trying to hold on to his health in the situation. And Knight of Pentacles. So he may find moments where he does stabilize. There could be moments, but there's no progress and there's no improvement, right? Because with the Knight of Pentacles, it's the only knight that doesn't move. So there's no like light at the end of the rainbow here. And let me just clarify the final card. And also too, just know if you do write to me, email me, whatever, I'm not going to be responding, over the next several days for obvious reasons. And I'm certainly not doing any private readings at this time. Okay. Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so the way like others see this, and when we say others, we mean Americans, the rest of the world, his spirit team on the other side, his guides, his angels, whoever watches over him. I don't know, reptilians. They're saying, look, you're coming into your karmic fate, your karmic destiny. And what is happening to him right now is part of that. The way he is seeing it, like, oh, this is going to get better, right? Here's Archangel Raphael, the lover's card. I can make the right connections, have the right contacts and contracts, and I'll get healed, and everything's going to be fine. So he remains very hopeful. That's the one thing that I get. Uh, Interesting. Which also makes me think, mental deterioration, hopes and fears. Four of Cups. I would say, I mean, obviously, this isn't a hope. This would be more of a fear that nothing really changes, and he doesn't like his choices. He gets very apathetic. You know, it's it's not a situation where he's going to thrive. There is no room for improvement. We don't have anything to improve his condition. We don't. So when we look at the long term going out, I really do believe, and I said this before, uh, King of Wands, that he is on a mood stabilizer. Once again, my opinion. Uh, because if you remember, I said that before everybody started talking about the Leqembi and the IV and all that. I said he's at the stage where they need to put him on a mood stabilizer. Okay. And I think it's going to be because he's getting angry, he's getting feisty, he's throwing the ketchup on the wall, he's calling, reporters piggy. That's a problem. That's a problem. And I think, we get the Fool card for him all the time, right? He is going to start acting very foolish publicly in a way where, because we would say, yes, he's already embarrassed himself publicly, but where he actually feels like he's embarrassed himself. And I think there's a huge, huge difference. Okay. Now, I think this is interesting, this combination, the Eight of Pentacles with the Moon, to finish this up here. And so, secrets, not knowing things, how things are working behind the scenes. So, we're being left in the dark. They're not being upfront saying, look, this is what the MRI is for. This is why he keeps going and getting these tests. And, we're not being told of the work behind the scenes. It's being done in the dark of night, so to speak. So I hope that that makes sense and gives you a little bit of clarity. And I'm going to do a 3-card pull with a deck that I haven't used on this channel before, but I really do like Rebecca Campbell. Sometimes you guys ask me where I would recommend getting tarot cards that are good, they're not counterfeit, whatever, or oracle cards. And that's Hay House. I do like Hay House. And Rebecca Campbell is a Hay House author. Thank you so much, Leslie. Yeah, every time you guys donate, I appreciate it. It goes right into the channel. Or I should say, more often than not, it actually goes into a cat charity. So I did sponsor somebody last week here locally who could not afford to get her medicine and food for her 2 cats. There was a financial issue, and so I did take care of that for her. Okay, so this is Work Your Light. So ask Spirit what it is you need to know right now. See which card you feel most drawn to. And if you are drawn to the psychic development stuff, become an angel member. We do this. It works. And tonight we're going to be working with your spirit guides, guys. Okay, so do you feel drawn to 1, 2, or 3? And if you feel drawn to more than one, that is fine. Here we go. Number 1, get grounded. Empaths, highly sensitives, connect with nature. Yeah, so if you're someone who's highly sensitive, you're empathic, you're psychic, you're intuitive, you do need to ground yourself. And that is a big part of what I've been teaching in that class, from doing protective bubbles to roots into the earth and all of that. Number 2, this is beautiful. Dance with life. Love that. Do something to change your energy. So often I do get this in readings for people where their spirit guide will say, just exercise. We don't care what it is. We don't care what the exercise is. It doesn't have to be, anything that's like fat burning. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to get your energy moving, to get things flowing, because when you get your physical energy flowing, then you get all your other energies flowing. So I like that. And then number 3, break the chain. Break the chain. Ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. Yeah, I mean, if your ancestors, always struggled with money, always struggled with an addiction, not being a homeowner, holding a job, what have you, be the one that breaks it. Because when you break it in all directions of time, right? In the past and in the future. And it heals you, it heals them, and then you can rewrite your future. So I love that. So, okay, everybody, this was a pleasure. And if you haven't already, please do hit the like button, hype, subscribe, make sure that bell is turned on, check out membership, and angel members, I will see you in just a minute. All right, bye, everybody. I forgot to turn it off over here.